the play of Nick Mullins at the game, how would you characterize it, and what things did you see that he did well, and what things did you see that he needs to improve on?
Well, I mean, I think he things that stood out. Obviously, he did a good job putting the ball in places in certain aspects where you could see we had a shot. You know, we had some drop balls, probably more drop balls than we've seen in the last few games. Chances for some big plays. You know, he read a couple plays correctly and put some ball right there in the seams. You know, which are big plays, and that got to be big plays for us. And I think he did that right. The thing that stood out obviously as a true freshman's first start is, you know, it's fast. There's a lot of new looks. There's a lot of things that are easy to do in practice and easy on paper, but it's a little bit different with the lights on and people out there. And but he doesn't hesitate to know where his corrections need to be and what he needs to get done. We don't hesitate to be able to grab him and say, okay, hey, move on to the next play. Obviously the turnovers and some just mental stuff that just happens in your true freshman year. Anyone who's done it, and any true freshman playing in the country or coaches coaching true freshmen in the country can tell you the same thing. You just got to be able to take your lumps with that. Unfortunately, it's you know, it's hard to sit there and for him to be able to take that and be okay with it, because it's hard. He's a competitor. He wants to be great, but his attitude was great. He held his head high. He bounced back, and I loved his body language. I loved his effort. We got a promising guy.
Is he the type of guy who, you know, just like waits for you guys to come to him to talk about, you know, to talk about stuff, or is he the type of guy who seeks out, you know, comes to you guys first? Like, he's the one who wants.
No, he's got a psychological profile of a champion. He's got self-starter, motivated, extrovert, all the things you want. He doesn't wait for, and that doesn't mean he's coming. You know, there's another side of that where you can be so outgoing and upfront and quick to talk that, you know, he's not that at all by any stretch of imagination. He's very cognitive. He knows he's looks you straight in the eye. He knows. He asks good questions. He asks questions that are really ahead of his time, and so he's definitely not sitting back and wait for you. He's in here working, studying. He's asking questions about what's on tape. He's got ideas that he's not afraid to share and ask. Those intangibles, that sort of psychological profile he's got.
One of those type guys you wish you had 11 of, that type of deal?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think we've got that. We've got that in some of our true freshmen. It's just they're true freshmen. But they've got that profile. They've got that want to be good. They've got that self-starter. They've got that drive. They've got that edge. They've got that, and that's just the mental part. And that's recruiting. That's, you know, we believed a lot of those guys had that when we took them, and it's starting to show now. Him, obviously, that position is, everything's obviously a little more magnified.
On Mullins, could you sense any frustration on the drop balls?
No. I think the competitor in all of us, when that situation happens, is you can get a quick clap or a come on, but he's not that way at all. He's not a point the finger guy. None of our guys are. We don't, that's not allowed. It points at us first. It points here first at me and our staff, and then it points, obviously, hopefully we're understand them and understand they got to point at themselves for pointing anybody. That's not at all his character, not all. He jumped right back in there and threw some more P's. Liked it.
Marshall gave up 51 to Middle Tennessee in their last game. Is there something you guys saw? I mean, this is the #1 defense in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Gave up 51 to Middle Tennessee, same team that, you know, Middle Tennessee was only able to put up 7 on North Texas, I think it was. So, I mean, was there something you guys saw maybe on film study that you know, where Marshall gave up 51 points where they were lacking? Or?
Well, the thing that sticks out is Middle Tennessee really executed well. They did a good job executing. They played hard. Marshall's a good team. Obviously, you mentioned the top team in our conference. Middle had a great game plan, executed it great. Their execution was really, really high. And I think when your execution is high, anybody can beat anybody, you know. And I think they just had a great game plan. And Marshall obviously is a very tough team, did a good job. They executed. I mean, it's 51-49. It's not like it was they got so executed. It wasn't even close. Obviously, they were executing themselves, and that was fireworks show. So good team. Obviously, the thing we have is we have some pictures of type of system, middle spread team and 10 personnel, and they spread the field, get some pictures of formations that we run and stuff like that, which is always helpful. If they were playing, Iowa and that was the score, we have a hard time seeing how it works with us. So just because two different offenses, but it does help to see some of the same pictures. We can see some variations of ideas and coverage and stuff like that, but we can only take so much of who we are and who they are and put it together. The biggest thing stood out was execution.
Since T-Man is pressing, is that
Define
feeling
pressing.
it? Well, there was, I think he had 2 or 3 drops, or maybe 4 or 5. And there was one on Saturday where he just doubled over. He was so, angry at himself.
Mhm.
So, do you feel like he's trying too hard?
There could be something to that psychologically, that he's over-focusing, over-analyzing. But there's part of that as a coach you gotta love. That's a competitive kid. He's very competitive and wants to be really great and works hard. So those things hurt. And when they hurt, that means you got the right guy, number one. They hurt us as a group because we can't afford drops when we're not executing, at a high level. Yeah, it hurts. So it's a compound deal. He's competitive, wants to do great, and knows where we are right now. So it just makes it hard. It feels like, I'll let the team down. But we're going to keep throwing the ball. He keeps getting balls. We believe in him. He just got to keep working on. We all do. Keep working on those things that slow down our execution. And he'll come around. It'd be just fine. It just was one of those games. Yeah, he had some situations where if he could have it back, he'd have it back. But we had a lot of drops. So it was a very weird look for a game like that. I don't know if we've had that many in a game that far.
You think that was part of the new quarterback, just not being as used to?
No, I don't know. That's hard. That's always hard to tell. Those guys have been catching balls from Nick all summer. Not that, and Allen wasn't here in the summer, so Nick was here in the summer. So shoot, I don't think that's it. Both right-hander, both spins the same way. Some people say when the ball spins the other way to a lefty, it's a little bit different. But I think it was one of those days.
How many balls were dropped?
I think it was. I think it counted 7, 8. There was a couple screens, obviously. There was a couple nows. There was 2 or 3 down the middle. Ended up being like 7, I think, actually. But that's one of those deals. It's just you gotta fix it. Can't have it. Dropped killer drive killers. Execution killers. It's hard to stay on schedule with those plays, especially when they're big plays. They're plays they're chunk plays. So we just gotta get better as coaches, players.
Of all the negative things that have happened to this team this season, a few positives are the effort that this team seems to play with and the potential for later years. Does that make your job easier, kind of coming in knowing that, I'm not going to have to coach these guys up to get them to be motivated to come out and play?
Well, the first thing I'll say is that you're absolutely correct. These guys' effort, their toughness, their their attitude has been great. And that's the number one component in believing that you're going to go out every week and execute. And it starts on practice, and they've had a great attitude in practice, and they've worked hard, and we've coached them hard. And that no quit, no fight, that'll pay dividends. It will. As a coach, we believe it will. Will it make my job easier and stop coaching, not be have to coach it? Never. That will never be part of who we are on offense. Is not, and not to say that you were saying we will stop coaching it, but that will never be who we are. This game's 90% mental, and having to coach those things and those details and have a tough team like we want, a tough team like this school's used to having, a mentally tough team that can go in and execute at a high level for years to come as we're here, that will never stop being coached. And they've done a really good job of continuing to fight no matter the scoreboard, and we can build on that. You're absolutely right. That makes us very proud of that fact. And I think it's on both sides of the ball. Now all 3 phases. I think. Obviously, I'm sure Coach reiterated that, but on offense, they kept fighting, they kept going, they kept swinging, and that's all we can ask. We just got to keep executing. Coach better, play better.